Hello and welcome to the review of the £55 budget gaming PC with 8GB of RAM instead of 3. I took the Ballistic Sports 8GB DDR3 out of my main desktop and put it in there for a test. I undid the overclocks mainly because that made it unstable. And I found this made it back to stable, which made it easy. I'm going to compare it to the original benchmarks before the overclock to get an idea of whether the issue is, whether the more RAM is an improvement or it's not. Yes. The actual Ballistic Sport RAM had a few issues when I placed it in. It did not. I tried getting 10GB of RAM, but it did not support the other 2GB I put in there. And also, when I placed 8GB back in my desktop, I had a few issues getting it working again. But anyway, apart from that, this was a pretty good test. Anyway, as we get into the benchmarks, we start with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Originally, we got a lowest of 40, average of 16, highest of 75. With more RAM, our average was 50, our minimum was 30, and our max was 73. I probably would say the actual benchmarking was slightly tougher because I did spend the first 1 minute spamming the rocket launcher. So to be honest, I reckon the results, if they were exact same benchmark, the recording you will see is not actually the benchmark of me spamming the rocket launcher, but it's the one I recorded before that. So, as we can tell, the improvement is really kind of worse. However, that might be because there's a lot more intensive for the CPU and RAM. I then went to Payday 2, where I kept the same settings as again, and I originally had a lowest of 10, average of 12, and the highest of 14. With 8GB of RAM, I had an average of 15, a minimum of 10, I had a max of 23. So this actually improves it by a few frames. Not a big improvement though, but an improvement indeed. I honestly would say that actually is still really so far RAM. I gave it a little improvement, but not a big one. So I still don't think upgrading the RAM is really the issue with this one. I then went to Saints Row 3, where I originally got a lowest of 18, average of 22, and the highest of 28. When I went and did it again, I got an average of 25, a lowest of 15, and a highest of 32. So it appears my lowest has gone down and my average up, and so is my highest. So it's gone up by a few. Not a giant increase once again, however pretty reasonable. I then went to CSGO, where originally I got a lowest of 28, average of 40, and the highest of 50. When I did it with the more RAM, I got an average of 55, a minimum of 29, and a max of 100. So the actual lowest was a bit 1 FPS higher, the average was definitely higher, and the max was higher. The max may have been caused slightly from the menu or benchmarking and waiting, I'm not too sure. However, I still think that's pretty good, and I definitely did notice that 55 frames when I was playing. It did feel like it. Anyway, since that, so far the only game which has really seen a decent improvement is CSGO. I then went to GTA 4. Originally in GTA 4 I got a low percent, average 16 and high 25. When I redid the test, or with the around the set, I got an average of 25, original highest, a lowest of 16, 50 is higher, and the highest of 32. 7. Face was actually, I was quite pleased with. So GTA 4, the RAM has definitely helped. However, compared to the overclock, the RAM would cost more and was useless. Only a few applications needed more than the 3GB, which caused it kind of be useless. However, at least with 8GB, if we needed if we are upgrading in the future, we'd have probably the most recommended. In conclusion, I do not recommend upgrading your RAM unless you clearly know that your RAM is bottlenecking pretty much everything you do. And to be honest, it's only improved the games which you probably wouldn't play. Really improved the games which you wouldn't probably play the most with this kind of setup. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. This was fun. The next PC review will be me testing my main desktop with 3GB instead of 8GB to see if less RAM causes any issues. So look forward to that, and take care.